guys, it's Michelle. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing my September wrap up, what I'm currently reading, and my October TBR. I read 12 books in September and I'm going to tell you about them. So the first book that I read was American Panda by Gloria Chow. I got 127 pages into this and DNF'd it because we couldn't start off a month without DNFing a book. This book is about a college student named Mai and her difficulties with dealing with her parents, who are very traditional, and trying to make a name for herself in her own life. It was just generic. I think the rep was good. It was just, I was 127 pages in, and it took me all day to get 100 pages in, which is not like me. So it was a good try, but it wasn't for me. So I gave this 2 stars, which is my DNF standard. The next book that I read is a book that I never want to see ever again in my life, and that is Perfect Chemistry by Simone Eccles. I am going to link below my rant review, 1-star review of this book. I did not like it. I'm not going to go into it. I'm just going to link that video below. So it's going to be in the description. I went on a 16-minute rant about this book, and I had to get it out of my unhaul pile to show it to you, so it's going back into the unhaul pile immediately. The next book that I read was Moxie by Jennifer Matthew. I read this for my book club. We have a book club for adults who read young adult books, and it's great. I love it so much. All of these tabs are all of the instances of sexual assault in this book. There was a lot. I read this immediately after reading Perfect Chemistry, and it was like a complete 180. These girls fought back. It was amazing. I give it 4 stars. It wasn't a perfect book. It's very hard for me to find 5-star books now. I'm so critical with reading, but it was a damn good book. Someone in my book club mentioned how it was the stuff leading up to like the bad stuff with rape. You know, we all know about Brock Turner. We all know about these instances in YA literature where it's just about rape, but not the like leading up to it. So there were sandwich jokes, and there was groping in the hallway, and there was dress code violations, and it was so good. If you're looking for a great feminist novel, this is it. Moxie by Jennifer Matthew. Loved it. Loved it so much. 4 stars. The next book that I read was Queens of Geek by Jen Wild. I DNF'd this book because, of course, I gave it 2 stars. It was about a group of friends at basically Comic-Con, and I thought it was more of a caricature of the characters than actual character development. There was one, I can't remember her name. She was an up-and-coming YouTuber and indie film star, and it was just okay. And then there was another character, who maybe her name was Taylor, and she was on the autism spectrum, and she was dealing with anxiety, and it just, like, the author told you about these characters, but didn't, like, delve into the characters, so I was pretty bored. It wasn't a good read for me. I DNF'd it about 150 pages in, so I don't have much to say about it. I didn't get far enough in. That is all. The next book that I read before Contemporary-a-thon was a reread of Shatter Me by Tahereh Mafi. I read this book about 2 years ago, and I gave it 4 stars, and I just reread it, and I once again give it 4 stars. My only criticism of this book is the insta-love. I forgot how much insta-love there is in this book, and it is a damn lot. It is so much insta-love between Juliet and Adam, and it was kind of cringy reading it for a second time, but I still love this series. I think Shatter Me is my least favorite of the books so far. I haven't read Restore Me yet, but I'm getting there. That's why I'm rereading the series. So 4 stars. For what this series is, I think it's good. You know, it's not perfect. Juliet is not perfect, and I think that's why I like it so much. So I'm enjoying my reread. I'm definitely picking up on things that I missed the first time, like the insta-love, but I'm really enjoying it. The next book that I read For Contemporary-thon, I started off with You by Caroline Kepnes. I gave this 2 stars. My big criticism of this book was that it was too slow. It should have been 200 pages less. I felt like the 2 main characters weren't together enough for me to care, and that's about it. It was dark and creepy, but it wasn't the best thriller book I've ever read. The next book that I read was The Unexpected Everything by Morgan Matson. This is the only book in my September wrap-up that I'm giving 5 stars. I love Morgan Matson. Me and my husband at brunch this morning were talking about Y'all Fest, and she's gonna be at Y'all Fest, and it's 2 months away. I'm 1 month away? 1 month away, and I'm fangirling so hard for it. I cannot wait to meet Morgan Matson again. So The Unexpected Everything got 5 stars. If you watch any and all of my videos, you know I talk about this book. So this is probably maybe the last time I'm going to talk about it for a while. So, you're welcome. The book that I read for Contemporary-a-thon was When Dimple Met Rishi by Sanya Menon. I technically gave this book 3 stars. On Goodreads it says 3 stars, but it's more like 2.5 stars. I had a lot of issues with the author and Dimple with the whole feminism aspect of this book. I just don't think it was a good representation of feminism, and I even tweeted about it, which is saying something, because normally I just wait for reviews, but it just, you can be a feminist and like makeup and like boys and like other girls and like clothes. Dimple made it seem like she was such a feminist because she was only into computers and not makeup, and it was just backwards, and the writing wasn't my favorite, and the insta love was so cringeworthy, and 2.5 stars. The next book that I read was Now a Major Motion Picture by Corey McCarthy. This was for Contemporary-a-thon, and it sucked. So I DNF'd it 150 pages in, 2 stars. It was not, the writing was not for me. A lot of people compare it to Fangirl, but I think it got lost in translation, and I just didn't enjoy the main character at all. I've already blocked everything about this book from my mind, so I can't remember anything about it to tell you, but let me tell you that I did not like it. So, also for Contemporary-a-thon, I read Maybe in Another Life by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I flew through this book so fast. I love Taylor Jenkins Reid ever since I read The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and I liked this book a lot. I gave it 3.5 stars only because in the end you don't know which way she chooses, so that left me a little irritated, but the more I think about it, the more I like that, because no matter which way she chooses, it's gonna turn out okay for her. So I'm still keeping it at 3.5 stars, but I really appreciated this book. I think the writing was great. I think the story was so good, and I love Taylor Jenkins Reid. And the last book that I read for Contemporary-a-thon was Serious Moonlight by Jen Bennett. I gave this 2 stars. It definitely wasn't my favorite Jen Bennett. I have only ever read Alex Approximately by her, and I gave that 4 stars. Serious Moonlight was slow. It was very long. It was over 400 pages, and it was just slow. I never connected to Birdie or Daniel, and it just wasn't my favorite. I skimmed through the last 50 pages just to get to the end to complete my challenge. So, Serious Moonlight, whatever. The last book that I read for September was Evidence of the Affair by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I actually think this was a short, little novella. It was less than 100 pages, and it took me 45 minutes to read. It's about this woman who finds out that her husband is cheating on her through letters from the other woman, and she writes letters to that husband, and they start connecting over their shared grief that their partners are cheating on them, and it was really good. It was told exclusively through letters, so you got to see as these relationships built up and fell apart, and I thought it was really good. I gave it 3 stars. I felt like it could have been longer. I would have loved a long Taylor Jenkins Reid book, but all in all, it was a good one. So that is everything that I read in September. I read 12 books, and I didn't forget any books this time, I don't think. So, great. Now for what I am currently reading. I am currently reading The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. I got this out from the library a couple months ago and never got around to it. And I am currently, 34 pages in. I'm in the middle of a chapter, so this is going great. Ever since Contemporary-thon, I have been in a book slump, so this will get read eventually. I'm actually really liking it. I'm liking it so much, 34 pages in, that I want to buy it. So we will see. I am also reading Unravel Me by Tahira Mafi. That is the second in the Shatter Me series, and I am 38 pages on that one, so making great progress. I'll definitely finish it. This is one that I'm reading before I go to bed, so I'm reading like 5 chapters a night before I fall asleep. So it's getting there. I definitely have forgotten things about the series, so I'm really glad I'm picking it back up before I read Restore Me and Defy Me and all of that. And finally, the last book that I'm reading is Exit Pursued by a Bear by E.K. Johnston. I'm reading this at work. However, because of the current political climate, I have put this on pause. This is about a girl who is raped at cheer camp, and she's dealing with the repercussions of that. And it is just very hard to read right now with all the shit that's going on in America. So yes, I'll finish it. I'm 70% done. I'm almost done. It's just very hard right now, but it is something I want to read. I'm going to finish reading. It's just very hard to do right now. Great. That is all. Now for my October TBR. So October, creepy, crawly, Halloween. Yay. So I'm doing thrillers and mystery novels and weird stuff for October. That's my TBR. Am I gonna squeeze in a couple contemporaries here and then? Probably. But we'll see. Can I keep up with this TBR? I don't know. So I got this because somebody was reading it and it sounded good. Friend Request by Laura Marshall. All I know is that this woman gets a friend request from this woman who she thought was dead on Facebook, and that's about all I know. I want to go into these books not knowing very much, so I can be either creeped out or have it be a mystery. So I'm very excited to read this one. It's a library book. I have to read it soon. Next book that I'm reading is Night Film by Marisha Pessl. This under Goodreads is categorized under thriller mystery, so I definitely want to do that. I want to read my first Marisha Pessl, and Sarah Without an H has highly suggested this book, and I just feel like it's about time I read a Marisha Pessl. I have all of her books, so let's, read one of them. Next book that I want to read is The Darkest Corners by Kara Thomas. I read The Cheerleaders by her. I got an arc of that and I gave it 3 stars. It was okay, but I think this is her first novel and I definitely want to read this one. I don't know much about it, but that's something I like. For all these books, I don't know much. I just know that they're dark and creepy. For Halloween, of course. So there's a sticker on this one. But what else is new? Bad Girls Don't Die by Katie Allender. I got this at a library book sale. The cover is creepy, so I'm hoping it's a creepy read. That's really what I want. Don't know anything about it. We'll keep you updated. I'm gonna be happy about this one. For some reason, a lot of people have been talking about it, and I've had this one for a while, and it's huge, is the reason that I am nervous about it. But that's The Diviners by Libby Bray. I have the old-fashioned covers, the old original. That's me. So this book is ginormous, but I think it has to do with magic and witches and historical fiction, and I'm just really concerned about it because it's humongous, but we can do it. We're good at reading. Let's go. Next book that I have is a new release, and that is Sadie by Courtney Summers. I just got this. However, I've heard people who have read this tell people to listen to the audiobook while reading it, which is something I really want to do because it has that podcast element. I don't have any audiobook services except for Overdrive through my library, so I have 2 library cards, one for Maryland, one for North Carolina. For Maryland, I'm number 7. For North Carolina, I'm number 4. Am I ever gonna get to it? I don't know, but whenever I am put on hold for it, I will read it immediately. And I'll stop whatever I'm reading and I'll read Sadie, because I think with the audiobook perspective, it's going to be amazing, and I definitely want to do that. I'm not a big audiobook person, but I feel like if I listen to it and read it at the same time, that'll be really cool. Last but not least, I am doing a buddy read with Chandler Ainsley. I will link her YouTube down below. We are buddy reading The Wicked Deep by Shay Earnshaw. All I know about this book is that it's being turned into a movie/TV series, and it's about witches. So I'm down for that. I'm really excited to read this. We're reading it at the end of the month. I hope we're still doing it. Either way, I'm reading it, Chandler, so good. So that is my October TBR. I'm probably going to put in a few regular contemporary books here now and then. I'm also going to continue the Shatter Me series. So that is my plan for October. That is all I have to say. Bye.